Good evening. In a highly coordinated operation, Bali Nine ringleaders Andrew Chan and Myuran Sukumaran have been transferred from Sukumaran prison to the execution island of Nusakambangan. Tonight, they are spending the first of what is likely to be only a few nights before their deaths by firing squad. Reporter Mark Burrows takes us through the day's events.
His wrists in handcuffs and chains around his ankles, Myuran Sukumaran shuffling down the stairway of the plane that brought him and Andrew Chan just a short step from the island, where they are now doomed to die. Scores of police circled the plane, all for two men. For a few minutes, they were Indonesia's most wanted, trophy prisoners. Chan, in the red shirt, marched to an armoured car. Security was in overdrive and overkill. Sukumaran looked terrified. Chan seemed more settled. The two Australians were heavily escorted by police and soldiers to the port of Cilacap in central Java. Then taken by army convoy to the waterfront. The armoured vehicles driven straight onto a barge for the short trip to Nusakambangan, the island where Indonesia carries out its executions. It was a journey that had started in Bali before daybreak, 7 hours ahead of the promised midday schedule. With the prison gates cordoned off by a wall of more than 100 soldiers and police, Chan and Sukumaran had been woken in their cells and told to prepare for their immediate transfer. Andrew Chan's brother Michael and Andrew's Indonesian girlfriend, without a word, weaved their way through the cameras and the guards to the prison gates. Michael. But they were turned away. Still unable to speak, but many tears. Inside, Chan and Sukumaran made a dignified farewell, saying thank you to the very officers who would be their guards on the trip. The pair hugged and farewelled friends among the inmates and prison staff. The condemned men have apparently been giving away clothes and kitchen utensils to other prisoners ahead of the moment. Then the timber screens around the prison gates were folded back and the armoured vehicles called barracudas, one of them an apparent decoy, led out the convoy carrying Chan and Sukumaran. The journey that started at Sukumaran took them to Denpasar airport. They were then flown to the seaport of Cilacap, bound for their final destination, the island of Nusakambangan. At Denpasar, they boarded the plane at an area on the apron normally reserved for the Indonesian President's plane. Chan and Sukumaran, VIPs of a sort for a day. It was not the expected military aircraft, but a commercial charter, escorted by fighter jets. The aircraft landed at a strip outside Cilacap, and at a long distance, the last glimpse the outside world will see of the Bali Nine ringleaders. What has been astounding here to watch is the level of security. There have been fighter jets, heavily armed police patrolling this fence, and of course, two helicopters there. We now understand they were simply decoys. The two men, Chan and Sukumaran, left by road. The other foreign nationals who are among this group of drug smugglers, condemned to face the firing squad, are reportedly already on the execution island. And the fatal moment seems very close at hand, although they will be given 72 hours final notice. In January, when a group of condemned drug dealers was shot, they were warned on a Thursday, executed at midnight on the Saturday. Even at the 11th hour, Australia is still trying, with fading hope, to get a stay of execution.
I think right now millions of Australians are feeling sick in their guts at the prospect of execution for these two.
On behalf of the Parliament, I respectfully ask of the Indonesian President that he spare the lives of these two Australian citizens.
For some of the relatives of the condemned men, there is now a sad and desperate scramble to make the roundabout journey from Bali to Nusakambangan, to spend a final few hours with their sons and brothers. Other family members today flew out of Sydney for Indonesia. The whole process that started with their foolish drug smuggling plan, their rehabilitation in prison, and their desperate appeals to stay alive, now seem to be coming to an end.
And Mark Burrows is in Chillichup tonight. Mark, is there any indication when the men will face the firing squad?
Peter, no specific time or date has been given, although the Attorney-General said late today that he wants it done as soon as possible. I think one of the remarkable things about today was the demeanour of the men before they arrived here, how calm and polite they both were as they thanked their jailers in Kerobokan Jail. And then coming over on the plane, one of the paramilitary police actually took a photo inside the plane, and it appears that Myuran Sukumaran was actually taking a quick nap on the plane. What a journey that must have been. But his demeanour certainly did change when he finally got here. Both men were asked if they wanted to bring anything. Andrew Chan has brought a Bible, and Sukumaran has brought some drawing paper and some of his pencils. The men will be kept in the main body of the prison. They won't go into isolation cells until the final hours before the execution. So there is an opportunity for their families to visit the men. Peter.
All right, Mark, thank you for that. Reporter Vicky Jardim is at Martin Place in the CBD, where supporters of the Australians are due to gather for a vigil. Vicky, many Australians are certainly upset and angry tonight.
Yes, they are, Pete. Now, a peaceful vigil is about to get underway here at Martin Place, which now is becoming a spot where people can come together and reflect. Now, most of the people who will be gathered here tonight are general members of the public, people who don't know Andrew Chan and Myuran Sukumaran, but are deeply troubled by these latest developments. Now, one man has said, we really need to stand up for the world we want to live in. Other people have expressed their dismay on social media, but I guess, Pete, all thoughts are tonight with the two men who could be killed any day now.
OK, Vicky, thank you. Few people know what's been going through the minds of the condemned men in these last few days, but a friend of Andrew Chan's has been in constant contact with him. He spoke to our reporter, Dimity Clancy.
Even as late as 2 o'clock this morning, Andrew Chan was reaching out to a special friend in Australia.
The last couple of messages we exchanged through each other is, I'll speak to you in the morning. He said, you might not get hold of me because I'm checking out tonight, but much love and I'll talk to you later.
Did you ever imagine last night that's what he meant?
No, I never thought, even he thought it was never going to happen, because he always thought, you know, we're in the limelight, think it'll cool down and it'll be all right. So I always said, yeah, mate, definite, always, you're in good hands.
In return, his mate Sammy was offering what comfort he could in a string of text messages.
I sort of come off the subject just to cheer him up a bit, you know, pretty much cheer myself up. So we come off the subject and I was speaking to him, he's still training, how's things, he's been eating right, how's my you?
Sammy was schoolmates with Andrew. They first met in Year 7 at Homebush Boys High.
Always been mischief at school, but always charisma. He had heaps of charisma.
What were his dreams and aspirations?
Computer technician. He wanted to always be a role model. So always a role model, always a motivational speaker.
Andrew was apparently still hopeful as late as yesterday.
What were his thoughts on facing the firing squad?
Look, he had a real good attitude towards it, always positive. And I think he was really expecting the Australian government to do a lot more.
But Sammy says the reality had sunk in for Myuran Sukumaran.
The response was, I don't know whether to cry or laugh.
This afternoon, Sammy tried once again to message Andrew, but there was no answer. Dimity Clancy, 9 News.